Elyria, Ohio, just west of the infamous city of Cleveland. Here lays an ailing mall that looks to be in its final days. This is the Midway Mall, an empty mall that was once a Jacobs powerhouse. Richard E. Jacobs was ahead of its time with mall development, starting early on around the Cleveland region. In 1966, Midway Mall would go up and open its doors for the first time. The original anchors would be Higbee's, JCPenney, and Woolworth's, and a year later, Sears would arrive to the scene. And for Ohio, it was a modestly sized mall for Elyria. And as a side note, it is said that Midway Mall shares its roots and layout with the Belden Village Mall in Canton, which you might see in the near future. At that time, your big advertising campaigns were newspapers, as TVs were still getting off the ground. Higbee's in particular ran multiple specials and advertising campaigns in the newspaper. You had the early stages of Black Friday, known as the After Thanksgiving sale. They ran multiple coupon pages, special sales, and even advertised these newfangled thingamabobs called credit cards. Woolworth was no slouch either, having their own page of coupons in the paper, and even the mall itself would advertise specials happening on select days. Midway Mall was doing well in the 80s, and this warranted a major expansion in the 90s. In 1989, Midway Mall would close temporarily for a major expansion that would bring forward May Company as well as a new food court. This would also include a new wing that wrapped around JCPenney's east face and practically doubled the mall's footprint. This is approaching BFM territory. Ultimately, however, I believe this was a mistake and led to the mall to collapse beneath its own weight when facing competition. We'll get into that later. May Company would wind up getting rebranded as Kaufmann's in 1993, while Higbee's would get rebranded as a Dillard's in 1992. And when Woolworth inevitably closed in 1994, Best Buy would come to replace it a year later. Despite the shakeup, the mall seemed to be holding its own for now. New businesses and old ones keeping it going into the 2000s. And this is where things started to go a little south. The Jacobs Group, whom owned the mall for a very long time, would sell off their portfolio, with Midway Mall being sold to the Westfield Group. Westfield had some bright ideas with their mall portfolio, and rebranded all of them into a common nameplate known as Westfield Shopping Town. We saw this happen with the Eastridge Mall in North Carolina, with Westfield Shopping Town Eastridge, and the Midway Mall would be renamed to Westfield Shopping Town Midway. Unfortunately, Westfield announced in 2006 that Midway Mall was not meeting the standards for their strategic plan, and would proceed to sell off to Centro Properties Group, whom brought back the Midway Mall nameplate. And from here, things began to go south further on the management side, as the mall passed from owner to owner, from Westfield to Centro, and then to Woodmont. The specific date on that transfer I was unable to find at this time. And then, in 2017, it was announced that Namdar Realty Group would acquire the mall. Now we get to the anchors once more. And boy, this is going to be like dominoes falling over. 2007 would see Dillard's shut its doors for the last time. That is a pretty big vacancy that hasn't been filled since, as you can see. A Steve & Barry's operating as a junior anchor would shut its doors in 2008, but that wasn't too bad a loss, seeing as the whole chain was going under at the time. The damage was mitigated at least when Dunham Sports came into the mall in 2013, and as you might have seen, is still going around as of the making of this video. The anchors shutting their doors didn't stop, however, as Macy's, whom acquired and Vord Kaufmann's, would close in 2016. Then Sears in 2017, surprise surprise, and then JCPenney in 2019. And amid the great shutdown of 2020, Best Buy would close over the course of that year. Even before all the shutdowns, this mall was dead, and I am utterly shocked it reopened at all. But alas, I guess it's not over till the fat lady sings, though I think I can hear her rehearsing in the back. Today, the mall is very empty, only being seen by mall walkers, the curious like me, and the few customers still around for the shops in the mall. Dunham Sports and a Johnny K Power Sports still remain as the only two things we can call anchors. But for how long? We can only wait and see at this time, but with my speculations, along with reports about redevelopment on the horizon, I don't think we are going to see Midway Mall open for much longer. Whew, this mall. It's a mostly plain-looking mall, with nothing too much that jumps out at you, besides one thing which I'll get into in a moment. It is a surprisingly cozy atmosphere to be in, even if it's a little bland, as some say. But what jumped out at me the most was the scale of the mall. Look how large these corridors are, and how big that center court was. Even without the funky expansion, this mall really nails the vibe of making you feel small and insignificant. It's a, difficult feeling to describe, but it's something that can be difficult to adjust to if you don't expect it. My country boy brain cannot comprehend. It is intimidated by this size. To start with discussions on this mall, let's go back to that belief I had about the mall. You know, this mall being way too big. In total square footage, this mall is over 1 million square feet, and that is including all the inline space and anchor space. The mall itself is only a few 100,000 square feet, but still. This is like approaching regional mall status. For a town that only has maybe about 50,000 people? Was Jacobs betting on commuters between Cleveland and Toledo to get off the toll roads for Midway Mall? I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, for only 50,000 people, this just seems like too much mall. Me and a few others also had an argument about this mall. One said that it's not that big. Meanwhile, I am insistent on saying that this mall is just way too big for Elyria. If Jacobs stuck with fine-tuning the original layout and didn't try doubling the mall's square footage, I'm sure we would be looking at a very different Midway Mall. Maybe one that was more alive. Even though the mall itself is dying out, the surrounding big box stores are still holding up fairly well, save for one strip mall. And even with declining population numbers, Elyria still seems like it's hanging in there as a sort of bedroom community. But that's enough from me on all of that. What do you think about that argument? Was Midway Mall too big? Or do you believe it's appropriately sized? This is a bit of an ongoing argument that hasn't been settled quite yet, so why not get some more insight among the community? Nonetheless though, this mall's days are numbered. There are rumblings about redevelopment and turning this mall into a sort of business park split between medical offices and light industrial manufacturing, based on what I've seen so far. Would the mall remain intact amidst all of that? I doubt it. But stranger things have happened, so we'll have to wait and see. Well, we are getting ready to wind down and depart the mall. I'll admit, I had a bit of fun here. And this turned out to be a bit longer a video than usual. A few 100,000 square feet can sneak up on you like that. I even got a whole bunch of pictures and struggled to pick out just 10. But again, what are your thoughts on the Midway Mall? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do share in the comments below. After dropping a like, and subscribing if you haven't already, there is still so much more to see. Also, this will be one of the few times I mention it, but I do have a Ko-fi page if you feel inclined to donate any money. It could be $3 or $30. I don't care. Thanks for having me, Elyria, Ohio. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt, wishing you and the Midway Mall farewell and good luck in the future.